Good morning, everybody. I'm going to be surviving 100 days inside this hardcore world. If I die a single time, it's all over. Gone. Nothing I can do. I have to learn how to play smart, and I have to learn quickly. But even quick thinking can't save you from your own stupidity. I made a huge mistake which cost me everything. In this hardcore world, I achieved so much before it all came to a crashing end. After I died, I tried to spectate in my world, but to no avail. Chunks would not load for me to be able to view them in spectator mode. This was a true hardcore death. My house, my farms, my gear, gone forever. Let's get into it. Day 1, I spawned into a beautiful location between an ocean and a jungle. So I ran over to the nearest trees to get some wood and got a few logs. After breaking those, I then dug into the ground and got some stone tools. After that, I went to find some food, but got immediately distracted by a sunken ship. I struggled to make a door, but after a few tries I managed to get it. I'm not sure exactly what happened to the footage of me looting the ship, but I found some iron, a single diamond, some food that I could use to start farms later, and some armor. With the iron I found, I made a sword, a pickaxe, and a shield. I guess apparently I also found some sheep because I slept through the night. Who knows where that footage ended up. Day 2, I made a chest boat. I had never made one of these, so it was a big moment. I was super glad these were added into Minecraft, because it came really clutch in this world. I spent most of the day traveling around looking for a village. Day 3, I found myself a village. I went around looting the chests and found some good stuff. I got a ton of wheat and bread. I found some potatoes that I could start a farm with. I grabbed a potion making stand. I did not end up using that, so I'm not sure why I was so excited for it. I finished looting the village and left. After that, I continued to travel and eventually found a pillager outpost. I have no idea why I thought it was a good idea to run straight toward it, but that is exactly what I did. I found some allies in a cage and taped them. I didn't know it at the time, but these things are cold hard killers. While I was fighting, one of the allies zipped by and stole my shield in the middle of a fight. After almost dying, I ran to the nearest mountain. Day 5. I explored the mountain that I had taken refuge in and found a village with a ruined nether portal. Mountains combined into an amazing little lake valley, so I decided to make this my permanent base. Day 6, I started planting all the tree saplings that I collected earlier, which I now realize is not in the video, so I went around collecting a bunch of tree saplings. I definitely remember editing that part, so I'm not exactly sure what happened to it. Anyways, I found a massive cave and went to explore it. This is literally the craziest cave I have ever seen before. It just kept going. I entered and saw an enderman, so I took the opportunity to get my first ender pearl. But he must have gotten stuck somewhere because he was just gone. I was so scared he was going to pop out of nowhere and hit me off a cliff. So I hid in a little 1x2 cave that I dug for the rest of the day. Day 7, I ran as quickly as I could out of the cave. Once I got to my base, I started to farm up the trees that I had planted earlier. After I had gotten a few different types of wood, I decided it was time to build my house. I went with jungle wood and stone blocks for the outside of the build. As I was building, it started to rain for the first time. Day 8, I continued to farm all of the trees that I had planted. Day 9, I continued laying the foundation for my house, but I couldn't decide what design I liked, so I just ran through a few different ones until I got a combo that I liked. Day 10, I kept farming the trees and working on my house. I pretty much got my first wall set up the way I liked it. I continued to improve my base by adding 2 more walls to my house. I decided that I liked the look of the fence posts as decoration, so I added those to my 2 new walls. And I attempted to start my roof, but I had no idea what I was doing, so we'll save that for a later day. Day 12, I decided to head back to the mines. I was absolutely terrified that enderman from day 6 was going to show up out of nowhere and just wreck me, so I ran around for a while and found a spawner. It was pretty easy to clear out, and I got some more iron, which I was still desperate for. I completely forgot about the spawner, so I never come. Day 13, I kept searching for useful ores and found a ton of gold. After a while, I got back to the surface and I headed back home. I started to work on a wheat farm so I would have a consistent source of food. After I got my crops growing, I started building a pen for some sheep, which took me way too long, but eventually I managed to get 2 sheep in my enclosure. After that, I realized that if I lit up my base more, I wouldn't have to sleep every night, so I started running around and lighting up out the area around me to make it safe. Day 14, I started out with helping my wheat farm along with some bone meal. I added to my bamboo farm so I could eventually build an auto smelter. Needless to say, that did not end up. 15th day, I started adding a second section to my house so it wouldn't just be a static rectangle build. Day 16, I kept adding to my house, and I ended the day with breeding my sheep army. Day 17 was the first big mistake that I made. I started the day out with caving. I was finding plenty of coal and even found a zombie spawner where I made a few mistakes. My first mistake was I paused right outside the spawner after opening it up for about a second and a half. That gave time for 3 zombies to spawn. I ran in and lit the spawner up and immediately realized my mistake. With only a second to think, I dashed back to the corner. I came in and tried to build up a block so I could escape, but the zombies had gotten there too fast. I switched over to my sword and threw up my shield. Immediately, I hit them all back with my sword and began to run to the other corner. After that, it was just a matter of keeping them at sword lengths while running in a circle. Day 18, I spent the time melting down my new iron and continuing working on breeding my sheep. I also worked on my wheat farm. Day 19, I finally went down to the village I had seen a while ago and I tried to loot their houses, but there wasn't much to loot. I did get some good stuff from the ruined nether portal. Day 20, I finally got a bucket and used it to make infinite water source so my crops would actually grow. I went over to my sheep to breed them, and then I broke some more trees so I would have more wood for my house. Day 21, I smelted up the sand that I had got from the village earlier and used it to make windows for my house. I kept working on the interior and putting in some floors. I decided I liked the contrast of birch planks to the stairs that I had just put up, so I went down a block because I thought it would make like a cool area in my house. On day 22, I did just about everything. I added another pillar of jungle wood in the corner of my house, farmed some trees, finished the brickwork on the back half of my house, and started to move all my gear and furnaces inside. Then I decided I didn't have a good enough view of my valley, so I made a staircase going over the little area I had just made. And once I had the staircase up the second floor, I made the floor out of acacia slabs. Day 23, I started experimenting with how I would put a roof on the house. I first tried a castle-like approach and just put fences around the perimeter of the top, but I ended up wanting like a real roof, so I tore them down. On day 24, I decided to add a full new level with wilds so I could actually make a nice roof. Day 25, 1/4 of the way to 100. I thought it was time for diamonds, so I started digging down to diamond level. On day 26, I finally hit the level where diamonds could spawn in and literally immediately found some, or right at the level they could spawn. It ended up being a 6th vein, which I was super excited about. I kept digging down so I could get to the optimum diamond level, and I came across a cave. I then completely forgot about what I was doing and could only think of picking this cave clean. I did find some good stuff as I did not have a ton of iron. Eventually I came across a ravine. I had several zombies attack me at once, but I was able to dispose of those pretty quickly. Day 7 was a very bad day. As I continued to explore, I realized that where I was opened up to a larger cave system, so I dug out of the ravine and went to the area above me. I started lighting up the area so that if there were mobs, I would be able to actually see them. Very quickly, a skeleton and a zombie spotted me. I was able to take care of the zombie as it was closer to me, but the skeleton was keeping me busy. It kept my attention to not see the other zombie to my left. I was able to keep it back long enough to finish him off, but then another skeleton appeared, and then a third zombie saw me. What I didn't see was the 4th zombie directly behind me. I was hit by an arrow and knocked back into this 4th zombie. Fortunately, one of the skeletons had just shot the 4th zombie, so I was no longer his target. And you can see when I paused the game, he was on his way to fight the skeleton. So I had the zombie that was directly to my right and one more skeleton to deal with. I decided that the best course of action was to unpause the game, try to sprint away to get some distance between me and the mobs. As I unpaused, I got boosted away by the zombie and was left with only half a heart. By some stroke of luck, the remaining skeleton shot the zombie that had almost killed me. He turned around and started attacking the skeleton. He got one more shot off at me. I barely managed to block it. With all 4 mobs engaged in other fights, I was able to find my staircase and run. I literally sat in my staircase for like 5 minutes. After I got out of the staircase, I remember I was here and I started mining down to diamond level. And I found an 8 vein pretty quickly. Day 28, I continued to strip mine, but I ran into some lava, so I changed directions and I did not find any more diamonds. Day 29, I found 4 more diamonds, and then I continued to strip mine. On day 30, I found the most diamonds that I have ever seen in my life. I found a 10 vein and an 8 vein, 1 block apart. After I had gotten all of these diamonds, I decided that I had enough and I ran home. Once I got home, I made full diamond armor and tools. At this point, I felt extremely safe. I had never actually gotten full diamond gear in Minecraft, and so it was a good feeling. Day 31. I started to build an enclosure for my cow farm. I needed leather for my enchantment table. It took me a while, but after some explaining on how low their mortgage would be, I got a nice cowpole to move in. Day 32, early in the morning, I started designing, or my enchantment setup was going to go, and after a few trial and errors, I had found a design I liked. Day 33, I got low enchants on my gear because I knew it would be a while before I had enough leather to make all the books that I needed. I went back to check on my cow family and they were doing very well. On day 34, I started working on the roof of my building. I literally had to look up a video on how to build roofs because I had no idea. After I watched a video from someone from 2012, I knew how to build an amazing roof. Whoever this guy is, he's always... Day 35. I worked through the night in the afternoon of day 35, I had connected the two sides of my roof. As I kept building up, I eventually ran out of stairs, so I had to go back to farming trees. Day 36. I finished the main part of my roof and started working on the second half. As I was working on the roof of my enchanting table room, I realized that I had not made the roof sides even, so I tore down one side and restarted. After some time, I was able to get it to match up perfectly with the rest of the roof. After that, I tried to add some texture, but it didn't end up working, and decided I was finally done. It looked just how I had imagined it. Day 37, I've been starting adding walls to my enchanting room. Once I only had a few more blocks to place to finally close the random holes in my house to the outside, I looked around to see what I would achieve. Day 38. Day 38 was the day my building dreams were crushed. Through some cruel stroke of fate, and just my lack of skill, I had built my roof wrong, and now it was off-centered over my enchantment table. After seeing this, I logged off and figured I'd fix it later. Day 39, wanted to get the achievement where you fall from world height to the very bottom of the world so I can make it short. So I began to prepare for the drop. Walled off my 1x2 hole so that no creepers could drop down and completely annihilate. After a full day of prep, I was ready to dig all the way to the bottom of the world. I finally hit bedrock and placed my bucket of water down to catch myself. After that, I climbed out of the hole and began building the world height. Day 41, I reached max height and I took the leap of faith. My heart was pounding the whole time. One wrong move and this world's all gone. Fortunately, I did it correctly, and I got the achievement without a hitch. After I got up to the surface, I ran back to the nearest village and slept through the night. I didn't know it at the time. This would be my very last time logging into my hardcore world. Unfortunately, I was not recording and my hardcore world glitched, so my replay footage was gone too. Here's what happened. As I was working on the short that I had made from the footage from the past few days, I realized that I had forgotten to turn on the replay mod so I could get cool footage for this video. So I went back to jump for a second time. As I was falling, I remembered a move Dream had done from one of his manhunts. He had jumped off a cliff in an effort to escape the hunters and saved himself with a ladder by placing it on the side of a block. So I decided to use this method to save me a little bit of time. What I did not know was that you could hit the top of the ladder, and as soon as I placed the ladder, I died. I hit the top of the ladder and was instantly gone. As I sat there in absolute shock of thinking all that I had lost, I truly began to understand the appeal of hardcore. Yes, everything was gone, but look at what I had achieved while I was alive. I found a beautiful valley and my proudest achievement in my house. I have always wanted to build something that I was proud of in Minecraft, but I have never built something I was happy. This challenge gave me the time and the motivation to do just that. This hardcore world was done, but I'm not. 100 days in hardcore will not beat me again.